All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. Some of these are just fucking stupid. The titles are fucking stupid, man. Like this one is How Can I Enjoy Harry Potter? Why am I expected to pay for a cat that isn't mine? All right, we'll do this one here. This one seems pretty good. It's titled May Have Ruined My Life. So the story goes, and look, listen to me. I'm not making fun of these people. These are real life people asking questions, trying to get solutions to their problems, and it's interesting to see this. So it's titled I May Have Ruined My Life. Not that I had a life anyway. So immediately negative. Immediately negative. You have a life. You're alive. Right? Don't be negative immediately. This person is, I say she, but this person is already seeking sympathy. For brief background information, I've been working in the restaurant industry my whole life and just recently got kicked out of my mom's house last year. I am now 19 years old and just quit my stable, okay paying job to go all in on this insurance company I saw an ad about that could have been a complete scam. If it's sales only, then it's a scam, yeah. Fast forward to now, wasn't a scam. Made it through interviewing process and meetings, and eventually was lived out of like hundreds of people. I don't know what that means. Fully got my training paid for. Only issue is I know nothing about this and I have no paying job. I can't get paid until after I complete pre-licensing, which I'm on chapter 6 of 12 in 2 days so far, and then pass the exam. So this sounds really familiar. Even if I do pass, what are the chances of me actually being a successful agent after a week of studying the job? Material designed to take months of processing. I currently have enough money to cover 1 month of expenses and no stable job to fall back to if this whole thing comes crashing. What if I don't pass the exam? What if I suck and make no commission? Looking back on it, I understand I should have just powered through my terrible server job until I was licensed. But I didn't, and now I've been given a deadline to complete this as a short amount of time. This isn't optional anymore. Please help any advice provided. So, this sounds really familiar. The reason why I say that is on a regular basis, I'm retired. I'm retired and disabled. So every once in a blue moon, I will go on Indeed. It's my favorite job hosting site. LinkedIn is nothing but a social media site like Facebook or Instagram to me. So I'll go to Indeed and I'll look at jobs to see what's hiring out there because I have a lot of friends in my city, my town, and I know what jobs they have. And if that position's posted, then I know they probably got fired or they quit. So I've seen something recently. It's a company called Banker's Life. So they offer they put in there $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Not a lot of money. Not a lot of money after taxes. Okay, so that's probably a tax bracket. Let's say it's $50,000 after tax bracket. You're bringing home probably $1,300 every 2 weeks, $2,700 a month. That may sound like a lot to some people, but to a lot of people, that's not a lot of money because that's pretty much all of your bills, right? But it's a commission-based job, and they offered training first for roughly 3 to 4 weeks, and you get a $2,000 bonus afterwards if you complete the training and become certified. And then after that, it's all cold calling. So that kind of sounds like what she got involved in. So my suggestion to her or him would be never go for a sales job. Ever. Are there people out there that can take a sales job and become successful and make six figures? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it requires the ability to be able to speak to people generally or speak to a group and not have a problem and be able to speak conveniently without having to do a lot of likes, ums, or uhs. But in the sales business, it requires a lot of lying, as well as persistence, because you're going to get more no's than yeses in the sales industry. I think she should have kept her job and not went after something that required sales. And if you go on Indeed or any job site and they don't post a salary, ignore the job. They should be posting what the salary would be for that job. That's something you want to look for. Never ever apply or go after a job that does not post a salary. Because one, it's either sales, or two, they're going to try to pay you the least. Because one of their questions, I guarantee you, those jobs posted that don't post a salary or an hourly wage, during the interview are going to ask you, what are you expecting for a pay? What are you expecting for pay? And that puts you on the spot. And if you're not prepared for that, it will determine whether or not you get to the next step. So she should have kept her job before trying to find another one and try to find another job while working. Never quit a job and then try to find a job, because it could take months. It could take a half a year. It could take a year. It could take 3 years. And then you lose out on everything. So my opinion to her right now is maybe see if you can go back to that server job you had, whether it's part-time or whatever, and seek for something else. The job that you went after right now, it's not a good job. It's not going to help you. You're going to be frustrated with that job and looking for something else within 30 days. It's not a good job. It is not a good job. Let's look at, I'm going to refresh it. There were no responses, so I'm going to refresh it. There's a couple of responses. So you can only do two things really. First off, don't question if you're going to be good at the new job. Make sure you will be. Pour every ounce of effort you can into being good at this job. It's literally your life in the balance. But it's sales. It's sales, man. Secondly, if you can then be restrictive with food and things like heating or electricity, the longer you make things last, the longer it will be until you have to take a loan out to stay housed. So this opinion already is horrible. Horrible. They're suggesting you can be restricted from food and things like heating or electricity. And the longer you make things last longer, it will be until you have to take a loan. Suggesting a loan. Horrible advice from this person. So there is a response to this, and it's the OP. This person says, as I am studying currently, I will read this in more depth later. Thank you for your response. So she didn't even fucking. And then that person responded, of course, hope it goes well for you. Just to read the rest of that original post. Also, try to find odd jobs for money if possible. Things like Uber Eats. Oh my God, bro. And others will hire you basically instantly if you can drive. At least where I am. People get hired after basically 2 days. It's also self-employed work, so you can literally just find slots where you're free and do work. And on top of that, when you get your new job, you aren't obligated to deliver food. You can just quit. Look, bro. Food delivery app service jobs are not the solution to anything. To anything. Whether it's temporary or permanent. Uber Eats, DoorDash, what's the other one? Instacart. They are not a solution. That is horrible advice. Horrible advice. She should have stayed at her job as a server. Maybe she can go back and say, hey, look, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Can I come back on, whether it's part-time or full-time, so she has some kind of income? Right? The job she's going to now is all sales. It's a horrible job to get into. It's a horrible genre to get into. No. Eliminate that. It's going to be stressful as fuck for you. Get out of it. You have to be a certain type of person to take on a sales job. Predominantly, you have to be able to speak to people and not be afraid to have conversations and have knowledge. And like I'm doing right now. I can easily speak to people, right? And get in front of crowds and talk. I don't have a problem with it. I don't care. Not everybody's for that. This girl needs to try to go back and, lack of better terms, beg for her job back as a server and then look for jobs while she's there. That's my opinion.